Rolling back, a little brief overview of some of the elites from Warren, Mass. I've been looking into this book for the last few nights. A Town in the Making, 1741, and the book was written in 1991 by Sylvia G. Buck. A lithograph of the town. And I think a lot of these are, they big mud flood cover-up books with the stories that they divert you from these buildings, that I think some of them were here and some of them were actually replicants of mud flood buildings. This is 2310 on Main Street, past North Street, heading west with a turret. I seem to have another picture of it, see? And if you look down there, you see the mud flood window. And 10, numerology 33, highest degree of the Masons. This goes into a write-up about all the people involved. Joseph Warren died at the Battle of Bunker Hill. It's a bust at the town library. Original map. One of the first drawings, and those drawings that a lot of people say look like child's drawings, and it does, quite frankly. A lithograph of the first Congressional Church. That was their first meeting house. An old picture with it in it. See the meeting house, the river going under the bridge. It's a depiction, but it's not, considering how prestigious some of the buildings were, I think they could have done better. This I wanted to get into quick because this is an interesting thing. In the center village of Warren, the Quabog River drew entrepreneurs to a course through the rolling hills as early as 1720, when George Hayward was granted the Hayward privilege by 1746. Simeon Dwight, Gershom, Makepeace, and Solomon Keyes had erected a dam of pine logs across the river near the present Main Street Bridge. Water power ran grist and sawmills, iron forges, scythe works, fulling mills, woolen and cotton mills along the river from Warren to West Warren. And that's one of them stories like the James Denison one that's kind of hard to believe. That river's pretty powerful. For 3 men to go there and use logs to... Is it possible? Maybe. But it seems a bit folk-tale-ish. Here's an 1868, 1870 view of West Warren, and this is supposedly an actual picture. But I'm going to show you something when you get in real close. Look at the house there, that white house. It looks like it's in the bridge. And then over here there's a house and it looks like it's right on the river, like an inch from the river. I don't know. That's kind of skeptical. One of the first sawmill pictures is the big mountain that's behind there. I think it almost looks like a pyramid from some angles. Asahel Fairbanks, one of the first elitists. A little write-up on him. He's the one who created the first telegraph line in New England from Boston to Lowell. His wife, Mary Abigail Chapin. She looks like somebody I know or seen before. She looks very likely. She goes into the Abigail theory that I have, that I believe there was a lot of witches back then. Doesn't mean that they were bad, but the Order of the Eastern Star, we start to see it in the graves, and I believe a lot of witches were named Abigail. So if any nefarious activity came about, they just say Abigail did it. Which Abigail? This is Main Street, right over near the bank in the Rotary. Looking from the station side towards this side. There's a mansard roof. Something that, as a carpenter, I've only ripped apart. I've never seen anyone have plans for them. And this is a whole write-up on all the different people who owned it throughout the years. From, the 1830s all the way up until like the 1900s, I think. Yep, 1919. I wrote all them names down. some of the original pictures. And if you look right there, that little building right there, and that's the Fairbanks building, right? Fairbanks Hall. There's a mud flood building there at the bottom. And where this is right now, there's a parking lot, and the highway department thing is there. And that mansard roof building is completely different, and the one in between is where the Masonic Lodge is right now. Here's an overview of it. First gas pumper. Early taverns. Dwight's Tavern. Hitchcock Tavern, which burned down. This book follows a sequence. It's like the Southbridge was. There was some power elites, and this one actually gives some of the insurance company guys' names up. I believe them circles created the fires, so they could also create the fire departments as well. That's my theory on it. The railroad station, which isn't used today, but runs. The train runs behind it still. There's the monument. Picture of the big church, St. Paul's Cathedral. That's the name of the church in Palma too. The bridge, after it's been done over. An original picture of the bridge. There's an old picture, but that's not a good picture in my opinion. Ooh, an elitist. Look at him. I noticed his hand was a certain way, like it's not a full fist, it's like a half knuckler. Is that possibly a secret symbol? Charles Strong, Hitchcock. And right there you get a peek of the original town hall. Look at that, it was a beauty. And there's the Hitchcock Tavern that burnt down. Some other old buildings. It looked like a really cool street. Almost reminded me of Italy or France at that point. The look they were going for. But check this. Look at the beauty that was at one point. Who really built these things? Because this book, just like the other ones, you don't see any pictures of them building any of this. That was one of the buildings Ramsdale owned there to the left, that mansard one, which is also a mud flooder. And I believe if this thing was 10 feet down, and the thing about this town is it's shaped like a funnel, and the backside of this right now has like this top of a wall that goes around that looks like at once it was 10 feet deep or more, and it looks like a pen. This is what the town hall looks like now. And the reason it looks like this now, they give some write-up as to why they can't build like them builders back then. Whoever them builders were, they didn't say who they were. My guess is they were masons, and look at this thing, was a beauty at that time. Look at the steeple on that. Burned in a fire twice, it says here. The elegant red brick town hall, built in 1878, burned in the Great Fire of 1897, and then again in 1900. By 1902, it had been rebuilt to its left, the block where William B. Ramsdale manufactured boots and shoes, and with L.J. Knowles built their first steam pumps from 1891 to 1897. It was a home to Smith Dry Goods, and left a picture to Hitchcock's Tavern. This photo taken between 1890 and 1897. The Ramsdale is one of the powerhouses out there. And there's like, you go up to this graveyard, there's like tiny obliques. You'd think it was a Worcester graveyard. There was so many obliques and elitists and secret symbols on that graveyard. I'll be over that at one point again. There's a picture of Main Street before the Masons Lodge was built. But I believe the little white building all the way down there on the left before the Fairbanks little mill there was actually had the foundation of the mud flood. And then this is what it looks like after, when they built the hotel. Just replaced that little building, the hotel with the turret. Here's another view. That's a view today. Well, recent. All right, so here's